Hello, welcome to another program, SCLC Today. Ladies and gentlemen, wow, in the last 2 weeks have we experienced a lot of violence. We've had a lot of political dynamics, but let me just start right here in Springfield, Illinois. A young lady named Miss Sonya Massey. Sonya Massey was so brutally killed by a police officer who I understand has been at 6 different law enforcement agencies in the last 2 or 3 years. Here's a young lady, I think 36 years of age, who called on the police for protection because she thought someone was breaking into her home, interfering with her privacy at her residence. So she called the ones that's supposed to protect all of us as citizens, the Springfield, Illinois Police Department. Miss Sonya Massey, ladies and gentlemen, was so violently shot down, shot in the face, unnecessarily, inhumanely by this police officer. When are they going to learn and understand that the inhumane violence that they are creating on a regular basis, not being learned to any degree with the George Floyds and many others? They're not interpreting this as being something that they shouldn't do. And you would think they would. So what I'm asking, where did this so-called law officer come from? I understand he came from the military, private first class. Private first class? How long was he in the military? What type of training did he have? And he been involved with representing in law enforcement 6 different agencies, from my understanding. But Miss Massey, Sonya Massey, was so brutally disrespected and inhumanely killed by this police officer. Ladies and gentlemen, and using profanity. What type of training are they having? He used the F word. And then on the police cam, in terms of the video, his partner said, let me go out and get the aid equipment, see if we can help her, even though you have shot her. He said, no, she's done. I heard him on the camera, on the video. She's done. Don't worry about it. I shot her in the face. Ladies and gentlemen, and there are some elected officials saying that police officers and law enforcement officers should have immunity. No one, regardless of being a law enforcement officer or whatever the position may be, no one should have immunity or disrespect in terms of violence in our society. Our condolences goes out to Ms. Massey and her family. I've heard her father so eloquently speak and talk about her. And it's just a sad day in America, where we can talk about inciting a riot. And I heard someone say, without getting indignant and getting involved with the day-to-day politics of what we have in front of us for the next 100 or so days, someone came out and said, we either win or civil war. Did you hear what I said? We either win or we're going to have a civil war. This is America. I remember when H. Rap Brown and Stokely Carmichael and others with SNCC, and they would come out and give their speeches, and many times they were arrested and treated as criminals in terms of inciting a riot. That's what they call it. That their verbiage was inciting a riot. What happened on January the 6th when you had a former president, because he had just lost? You had a former president saying, let's go take over the Capitol, and the violence that erupted and came out, and even murdering at least one or two police officers, one after he went home the next day or so and died, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, why no one was arrested inciting a riot that was a former president, not the president, but a former president at that particular time, because he wanted to violently overthrow the returns of the votes where he had lost. So I'm just disturbed over these type of incidents, and I'm not afraid to talk about it, but something must be done non-violently. We cannot let America and the so-called radicals of racism. Now, racism is embedded in America. That's why you had the transatlantic African slave trade. And we haven't been healed from that. It's been embedded in this system. And let me just say this. Black folks can be racist too. It's just not from any particular side of ethnicity or whatever. You know, racism can be of ethnicity or background of any person that's a human being. So let's get that straight. First of all, there must be a meeting of the minds. There's a mean spirit that's going around within our country. And I've been in the leadership role of president, CEO of SCLC almost 20 years, but we're still here. And ladies and gentlemen, we must understand that Dr. King talked about America and the other America, where people who are poor, people who are of color, and also poor Caucasians and others, if you don't have the wealth, then you're America. And they're making it criminal if you're poor. It's a crime to live on the streets now. It's a crime if you can't buy your food. It's a crime if you don't have the necessity of life. You know, like shelter. You know, people being evicted from their homes. And it's criminal if you don't have the money to pay for it. What are we going to do, America? But we send hundreds of millions, billions of dollars around the world to other countries and to get involved. And I'm not condemning that. I'm saying, but charity starts at home. You can take just $10 million to get started, and we can begin to have a movement to eradicate poverty, not to mention 50 million. We could really start, not finish, but we could get started and see the seriousness about eradicating poverty from our society. Then you have leadership who really have no moral values. The morality is non-existent. So what do you think? And you're talking about running for something. So what do you think about the young people looking at this? If this person running for a particular position, and particularly the highest position in the land or the world, the most powerful in the world, and you're convicted, you're a felon, and you disrespect women, and you're fraudulent in your business deals, what do you expect that the young people will use as an image? It's going to destroy the morality which we have known in this country for many of years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that we have work to do. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. Speaking about work, the 65th annual SCLC convention going to be here in Atlanta, and it's going to be August the 9th and 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a nice convention. Going to be very nice, and it's going to be very productive, and we're going to go to the next level in doing what we can. The movement has not changed, but the movement is not like it was in the 80s and the 90s, even the early 2000s. Many people don't understand. We don't march just to be marching. We can march, and we are good at that. But there are the economic structures that we must deal with in terms of reparation, in terms of this country understanding that you must give opportunities for those who came through the transatlantic African slave trade. And if you are successful now, and if you have $1 and you participated in Jim Crow, oh, by the way, you're back in Jim Crow. Many folks don't know that you are in Jim Crow, but you are in Jim Crow. You are back in Jim Crow. So come to the convention. Our tickets are being sold. We have only a few left. You need to come and get the truth, because love is what love does, and the truth will be told. God bless you.
Dear friends and supporters, I am delighted to extend a heartfelt invitation for you to attend the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC 65th Annual Convention, which will take place on August 9th and 10th at the Doubletree by Hilton Atlanta Airport Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia. This year's convention centered around the theme of education, economics, and gun reform. Requirements for a better community holds immense significance in our ongoing pursuit of justice and equality. Your presence at this convention is critical as we come together to address pressing issues impacting our communities, from bridging educational disparities to fostering economic empowerment and advocating for sensitive gun reform. And discussions will pave the way for tangible solutions and positive change. I urge you to join our president, Dr. Charles Steele Jr., and myself in Atlanta for a weekend of insightful dialogue, collaboration, and empowerment. Together, let's reaffirm our commitment to building a more just and equitable society for all.